Before I call this meeting to order, see a few new faces. Any of you wishing to speak, you can sign up back there and we'll get started. Welcome to the first of two meetings in the month of June. We'll have two tonight and then we'll meet later on this month for the July meeting. There will be no meeting in July, so we'll have two meetings in the month of June. Let the record show, the minutes reflect that all board members are present. Town manager and the attorney here and all those having business with the town will be heard in two locations. One is a citizen presentation where you are allowed 3 minutes. Amy Johnson keeps time on that. You may make any comments. You will not receive any comments, questions, or criticisms from the board. And then at the end of the meeting, we have what we have citizen comments, and that's where you have an opportunity to ask a question about anything that you may have a question about what transpired here tonight. Each time we ask that you give your name and your address in case we should need to contact you. With that being said, welcome to the June meeting. I'll ask you to join me now as Commissioner Shackford leads us in our invocation. Commissioner Smith will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance after that.
Let us pray. Gracious God, our Father, the giver of every good and perfect gift, the creator of all mankind. Lord, it's again and one more time that you have allowed us to come before your presence, oh God, and we just want to say thank you. Thank you, Lord, for your many acts of kindness that you've shown toward us, not only us, but to our town and to our citizens. We ask, Lord, that you will bind the hands of the enemy and protect us from all hurt, harm, and danger, creating us a clean heart and renewing us the right spirit. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Commissioner Smith.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, thank you for that. Amy, where's there we go. We have one citizen presentation tonight, and board, I am excited that this young lady is in this room tonight. Nicole, if you want to come on down.
So,
name and address, like we practiced.
yes. Good evening, my name is Nicole Warren and my address is 1877 Altons Trail. We live just outside of city limits, but we are districted for the Farmville school system. My oldest is finishing up his kindergarten year there, and it's been an amazing school. We've loved it. School safety is on the forefront of everybody's mind these days. And in March, we were faced with yet another tragedy in Nashville, Tennessee. I forced myself to watch the footage, and in that footage, what I noticed, beside the classroom doors were mounted barricaded door jamb devices. I recognized it immediately because we purchased these for my son's classroom. He was unable to use them as their non-approved device. However, it got me thinking, what can I do? How do we make our schools safer? And why haven't we done more? Since Columbine in 1999, there have been 380 school shootings. So I started researching, started planning, and I started meeting. Met with school officials, county officials, and came up with a plan. We received quotes for bullet-resistant window film. This film allows our first responders an additional 6 minutes of response time. And in our small town, 6 minutes can make a huge difference. The window film quotes came in. The first one, which would cover only the front windows and doors of the building, is just under $5,000. If we were to cover all of the exterior doors, that quote came in at $17,000. The more money we raise, the more windows we can cover. In a perfect world, we'd cover all of the windows of Bundy. I also have presented and am proposing barricade devices to be on the doors of the classrooms and encore classes. There are 67 doors that would need these inside of Bundy. The device that I've proposed to the fire marshals is $125 installed. An additional device is $250 if they do not approve the $125 one. Whether you were a student, have a student, know a friend, neighbor, loved one, or if you were just a community member, any tragedy that happens in our schools is a tragedy for the community. Any money raised above and beyond what we need at Sug Bundy will be filtered to the middle school and the high school. And either way, we will assist them in gaining these devices as well. I'm here tonight to ask you for your support and your donations, not only personally, but as a town. Small Town USA is no exemption. We've seen it happen in small towns. We are not exempt. So tonight, I want to ask you for support. I want to tell you thank you for your time and attention, and thank you for your service to our town.
Thank you, Nicole. Board, I'm gonna pass this down to the town manager. This is a full summary of everything, and David, when it's convenient, after you've had a chance to review that, we'll take a look at it and see where we need to move with the board with that, okay? That brings us down to the town manager's comments. Mr. Hodgkins?
Thank you, Mayor. I actually don't have any comments other than we're very busy lately, and we are happy about our needs.
Anybody have any questions, town manager? Anybody? Seeing none, that'll bring us down to the financial report. You have it in your book. Amy's done an incredible job so far this year, and we're excited about the new budget that we're going to see here a little later on. Anybody have any questions about the financial report? Amy, you have anything you'd like to add? Okay. Anybody have any questions of Amy? Seeing none, that brings us down to changes, deletions, and additions. And David, I'm going to ask you to weigh on this because you've got something you want to share with the board and something you want to ask the board.
Yes, sir. Item 6, regarding the employee stop. Some discussions with some of you about this issue also had several discussions. The traffic engineer, we were asking that this item be tabled until
Before I move on this, anybody else have anything they'd like to remove or add to? Seeing none, I'll take you back. The town manager has asked us to remove item number 6 on the items for discussion and the decision. Are there any questions, comments, or motion?
I'll make a motion, we removed item number 6 from the agenda.
Commissioner Smith has made a motion that we remove item number 6 from the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item 6 has been removed from the agenda. We'll see that at the end of this month, I'm assuming. That being said, is there a motion that we accept the agenda as presented tonight?
I move that we accept the agenda as presented tonight.
Commissioner Hobbs has made a motion that we accept the agenda as presented. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. That brings us down to the public hearing. David, you got this, right? Okay. This will follow for those of you that are here for the first time. This is a public hearing. Once David makes his comments, you'll have an opportunity to join in also. Mr. Hodgkins, room's yours.
Thank you, Mayor. The Board of Commissioners received the agenda. This was the recommended budget, budget itself includes the general fund, water fund, sewer fund, maintenance fund, small funds like the cemetery here. The board had a budget workshop on the 22nd of May. They discussed several items, including outside money for outside.
Anybody have any questions before I open this public hearing? Anybody have any questions? Seeing none, now declare this as a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak, feel free and come to the podium. Anyone wishing to speak, this is a public hearing. Seeing none, I declare this public hearing closed. Questions, comments, or motions from the board at this time? I'll start with Commissioner Smith.
I do not have any questions, and I think David's done a very good job, and when it comes to the appropriate time, I would like to make a motion to put this into action.
Okay. Commissioner Shacker?
I agree with what Bert just said.
Okay. Commissioner Dixon? Good. Dr. Hobbs? Good. Okay, with that being said, I will entertain a motion.
Motion so made.
There's a motion by Commissioner Smith that we accept this year's budget as presented. Any comments?
Just to clarify,
Sure. That is correct. As presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The 2023-2024 budget has been adopted. Good luck with that, David. Y'all did a good job on that. That brings us down to items for consent. You've had an opportunity to read about the minutes, the ordinance amending and approval of the audit contract. Is there a motion to accept the items for consent?
I move that we accept the items for consent.
Dr. Hobbs has made a motion that we accept the items for consent. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. That brings us down for items of discussion. We have removed item number 6. That'll give us item number 5, 7, and 8. We'll start with item number 5, which is an ordinance to amend Chapter 157 of the Code of Ordinances regarding parking requirements for certain land uses. David, you've got this, and we have a special guest.
this matter was presented to you on a hearing bill back in May. And there was some questions at that time. And this, I guess, the changes involved around some things that we have said back in March related to parking standards in various zones. This is part of the implementation of several items from the working with Stewart Company to go through this ordinance, make some suggestions. In this case, we tried to update some of the standards in the park area and also make it today's pattern of parking needs. Order and all those type of things. So that affects parking standards. So anyway, in your packet, there are some changes that are proposed. These were considered they did recommend approval. They presented a table that there's no need to have another public hearing or to run through these changes.
If you're having trouble hearing me, let me know. I'm just kind of raising my hand. Tonight, we're going to review the parking requirements in Chapter 157, then follow with a discussion. But like David said, this recommendation came from Policy 7 of the Comprehensive Land Use Plan. They call to examine the zoning ordinance to assist in implementation. We did update the ordinance to be compliant with state legislation, Chapter 160D. Tonight we're going to talk about the parking requirements as a way to encourage commercial development, reuse, and this is just some of your current requirements. In comparison to other towns, you'll see Greenville was in Pitt County. We looked at some other counties as well. But when we compared your parking requirements to all of Pitt County and other areas, your parking requirements were higher. So there was a need to reform. Here is an example, a 60 by 60 flower shop currently would require 18 parking spaces at a cost of $90,000 just for parking. So what we're proposing is if, say for example, this flower shop is in the general business district, what we're proposing is to be able to count for on-street parking and then giving the planning director the authority to reduce off-street parking requirements by 50%. So instead, this example, with the revision in the parking requirement table, that takes it down to 11 parking spaces. Planning director can reduce that even more by 50%. So you're looking at a cost difference like $90,000 to $55,000, just looking at the parking requirements on the table. But if the planning director reduces them 50% more, that brings down the cost to provide parking even more. So in these revisions, mainly update the town law requirements to encourage non-residential development. We don't want to put a big burden on non-residential development. We want to encourage it. So you'll see some uses in the table that didn't change. There are some suggested changes. Also, you'll see that there are updates to the requirements for the general business district. This way, it can facilitate infill development and extend downtown Farmville. This is what we're suggesting. The changes that we're suggesting. You can find them under section 70 in chapter 7. Then, in addition to that, so the parking requirements, any structure that expands their gross floor area more than 10%, these parking requirements will be in effect. So central business district, there are no parking requirements for new non-residential development. We did add for new residential development that they require parking, they require one space per dwelling unit. But there's also on-street can be parking can be counted, and there's a shared parking agreement. Shared parking as well. So in the general business district, like I said, the planning director can reduce off-street parking requirements by 50%. Residential development in the general business district area. One space for single family. 5 spaces per apartments and multifamily. So you see on this map, those are your general business district areas. So do I have any questions? Clarification that's needed? Now, this is just what's being proposed. There are a couple of different alternatives revisions that can be made. So any business that increases their gross floor area by 10%. You can adjust this. If you're worried about 10%, if you want to increase it to 20%, then that triggers the parking requirements. We can increase 50% to 80% or even 100%. Parking requirements in the general business. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Anybody got a question?
I'm certainly more comfortable with the increase threshold, and I like the idea of giving the planning director more discretion in reducing the required amount. I think at all costs, we don't discourage redevelopment. We know how important parking is, and we hear the parking issues every day of our lives, and so we appreciate your working on helping that.
Yeah, if you look at this map, most of your general business district is adjacent to downtown.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I can't see it really well. Is it the purple is the general business district?
It is that, it's blue collar right here.
Okay.
Paul, you got anything you want to add to this? I mean, is the planning board going to be okay with all this? Yeah. Okay.
Well, what we're doing now is leaving it unchanged from what the planning board has already approved. Is that correct? So, and I think our concern, and certainly I agree with Jamin, you know, we were very concerned when we heard it last time, and we may not have gotten it totally, may not have comprehended it correctly, but we didn't want to limit additional parking any more than to increase the problems that we already have, which it seemed apparently that's what the ordinance was doing, but apparently that's not the case.
And there's a lot of flexibility. We can be flexible.
This is more business friendly.
More she's willing to change a little bit, the more it becomes business friendly, I think.
Well, since everything's adjacent to downtown, you could just have parking requirements for general business. But that's up to you. That's up to whatever you're comfortable with.
Already allows for
And it doesn't.
use of on-street parking to count your parking, which is, that's quite a ways away from a lot of your traditional ordinances. It's already too flexible.
How do you count, like how many on-street parking places would count to say town hall? I mean, how do you go about, is it arbitrary? Do we say any parking place within 1,000 feet?
Right now, it doesn't say that.
Okay.
You could add that.
Which, I mean, in many cases, there are probably lots of general business locations where you couldn't build parking within 2 blocks. I mean, I think in many cases, it could be the difference between a business expanding or not. And we don't want to keep them from expanding.
To give an example of like how the distance of 1,000 feet, say you go to a Target, if you park in the very back and then walk to the back of the store, you walk more than 1,000 feet.
If you would add counting on street parking within 1,000 feet, I'd be real comfortable with it.
Be comfortable with that, Commissioner Street?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In order of those, I'd say the 1,000 feet is best, 10 to 20 is second best, and the planning director, just because it's discretionary, I would rank it third most important out of those 3 changes, but anything helps, I think.
Just to clarify to you right now, until we go.
You left me hanging, Paul. Are we good with this? David, you got anything you want to add?
Other than just to say that this, if you do nothing, that this is giving a lot more flexibility for her.
Okay, boy, let's talk about it. Your bat burnt you up. What do you think?
I think, you know, hearing that it's more development friendly and more open to investment of new businesses and expansion of older businesses, I'm good with it. And, you know, if we want to put a change that Jamin suggested, then I'm also good with that. If we can do that.
All right.
But the changes that we're making will not affect the downtown area, our area.
Just general business.
The residents, I mean, not residents, but the businesses downtown.
I think if we make the changes that Andrea suggested tonight to the ordinance, that the existing businesses downtown and, would not be
Okay.
negatively impacted. I mean, they may be favorably impacted.
James, anything else you can add to this?
No, sir, I appreciate the work that these folks have put into making this more appealing.
Dr. Hobbs?
I'm fine with it. Sounds good. It gives them more flexibility.
I got a feeling that a motion on this is gonna be real wordy. How do I dial that in so we know what we're talking about? Do we accept the plan that's presented with the necessary changes that have been suggested here? I mean, that's mighty broad. It'd probably give the attorney scratching his head.
I would say that we make the motion of the changes and let Andrea read it back to us so we know exactly what it says.
We need to choose to mention 3 different changes.
Give me some light in here. Thank you.
I think with one, you good with just the first one?
I think too, 1,000, defining the on-street parking distances that would qualify, and then increasing that 10% increase in footprint to 20%.
That's expanding, the building has expanded, it's 20% before it kicks in.
Yeah, yes, sorry.
David, is this something we need to vote on, or we need to rewrite it and get it back here for items of consent this end of the month? Because I want to make sure the wording on this is right.
Based on what you said, I think just you're basically adopting or approving what's with those 2 changes.
Say that again.
What I'm hearing is that you're approving what is in your packet, plus you're allowing us to count any parking within 1,000 feet as available parking. And any kind of expanded business more than 20%, the parking standard will kick in as opposed to 10%. That's restricted. Also add any parking within 1,000 feet is counted as accessible.
And I guess to Commissioner Moore's point, I said on-street parking, but that should probably be public and on-street parking. I mean, so we include public parking that's not on-street too, off-street. Public parking lots.
Somebody package that in a motion for me. Who wants the motion on that?
I'll give it a shot.
Okay, listen very carefully at this. Chris, keep me legal here. Here we go.
I make a motion, we approve the zoning text amendments to revise the parking standards as presented with the changes that we specify that any public parking on street or off street within 1,000 feet is counted as parking spaces, and that we change the 10% threshold for building expansion to a 20% expansion before it triggers the new parking requirements. How's that?
Board, you've heard the motion. Andrew, you get all that? Okay. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you for that, Commissioner Dixon. Thank you for that. Thank you for you, David, Andrew. Thank y'all for your work. Thank you so much. That brings us down to item number 7, resolution adopting the Pitt County Comprehensive Animal Service Ordinance in the Farmville municipal limits effective 1 July. And Chief Spencer, I believe you got this. That's what my paper said.
I've been having meetings with Chad Singleton, which is Director of Animal Services of Pitt County. Right now, the police department and Wes's Department of Public Works has been kind of a joint effort to handle animal control. Right now, we do not have, it's a part-time position. Wes does not have anybody hired. We don't have anybody hired. So we're looking at contracting with Pitt County Animal Services. They'll provide basically the same services or better that we're doing right now. They'll have a dedicated person that will be basically assigned to this part of the county. Part of the agreement was I'll provide them somewhere where they can come do paperwork so they can stay over here on their side of the county instead of being all the way over on County Home Road. So response times would be faster. It would just take us out of the animal control business. Money-wise, I think in the long run it would save money. I mean, it's taking away a part-time position that, it's $11,000 or $12,000 right there. It's going to cost us $17,000 to do this. They've got in-house veterinarian services that they'll be taking care of. Minor medical stuff they will take care of. They'll patrol the towns. They'll trap cats, take care of dogs that are running at large. Because right now, I mean, I've got a uniform officer that's going out and taking care of animals. Wes is pulling people off of their normal job duties to take care of animals, and I just think it's a great idea.
Tell me what happens to Miss Jones when her dog gets out and he's on the loose and he gets picked up.
She will have to go to Pitt County Animal Services to pick up her dog. It's actually not. They're actually the prices. If they don't, and I've already talked to Mr. Singleton about stuff like this. You know, they'll do rabies vaccinations, and it's about a quarter of the cost. That's a state law. A lot of people don't do it, but if they get picked up, they'll go ahead and rabies vaccinate them, and it's about a quarter of the price. So they're actually saving money going to the bill. And we do stuff like that as well. I mean, we've actually charged people. I mean, if they don't have rabies vaccinations, we charge them 2 or 3 days to go get it done, or they can be charged.
It's been a long time coming anyway, hasn't it, Chief?
It has been. I think it'll be a great thing.
All right. Board, you got any questions of Chief?
So going back to Ms. Jones, when she walks out her front yard, sees a dog out there barking, does she call the police station here or does she call the county?
She will call the police department. And that's a good point that you just make about barking dogs. Our ordinance will still be on the books. They're not going to take care of barking dogs. So we will still enforce the barking dog complaints. Dogs running at large or other animals running at large. Everything basically other than the barking dogs. They don't even do that in the county.
Yeah, well, I mean, I basically was running at large in her front yard barking.
They would call the police department, and you know, we would probably go ahead and send the car out there because I don't know the exact percentage, but I would say 80% of the time, sometimes the dog's not there anymore. And I've talked to Mr. Singleton about that. You know, we'll send the car out there to check. If the dog's not there, there's no reason for them to respond. If the dog is there, then they can go ahead and respond and pick up said animal.
The time savings that you're really going to benefit is more the daily care.
A lot of it, yeah. I mean, I'm sending an officer down there in uniform, and Wes is taking people. We're having to feed the dogs. We're having to clean out the kennels twice a day. If there's any minor medical stuff, I've got Officer Tettleton that she was the part-time animal control. Now she's a sworn police officer, but she was going down there taking care of giving medications to some animals down there, and we were just eliminating all that.
Okay. Any more questions? Is there a motion that we adopt the Pitt County Animal Control Ordinance and move forward with contracting with Pitt County Animal Control? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the Pitt County Comprehensive Animal Control Services Ordinance per advice of the chief.
Board, you've heard the motion. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Chief, thank you for all you do there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. David, you got this one concerning the approval of the grant project ordinance for the American Rescue Fund Plan. This is a very big deal for us. This is huge.
You have probably heard over the course of the last several years about American Rescue Plan and how the Act, American Rescue Plan Act, allocates certain amount of money based on the population of all the counties and cities in the United States, except so it is getting a very daunting process. U.S. Treasury Department governs this, and they started out with some very cumbersome regulations. They essentially simplified things. So as I said at the very beginning, some of this state has money, county has money, area has money, whatever, have others. And also, local library business process. We waited, and we had until 2026. Not there. So, we have since tapped into state money on all these grants that you've seen. Water and sewer, many of those have come from very rescue plan funds that have gone through the state. The state of North Carolina, unlike a lot of states, have a mechanism in place already. So, it's administer these types of grants and so those grants and had not have to spend the money. Also, try to tap into some of the county, they've gone a different direction. So we got our money, which is a little over $8.5. What this does is we have, back in August, we adopted several policies that require by Treasury to make us able to spend this money. Obligated. So this ordinance brings this money into our budget, receive the money, but we have not actually officially recognized it. So this ordinance brings officially provides a mechanism that we can bring in this fund to government replacement and then use it for expenditures that identified several things. This particular thing, just because one of the requirements I've identified salary. Salaries are very scattered. Probably on cost object. Also, can always things on safety. Recommend this grant project always be adopted. Finance also, in essence, your entries allocate money to make us back.
Okay. You've heard David. He's asking us to approve the grant project ordinance for $1.5 million and change. Any questions of David on this?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
Would that also, I know you listed what you would be using it for, and when you say improvement, does that include infrastructure?
In this particular case, it would be building improvements in this building. Parks and Recreation, some other work, these are all things we state for those. And then, yes, I could have listened, but we had a conversation.
Right.
It's really heavy for me. Part of those improvements, that's what it was.
That's exactly what I was
We've got
asking.
valuable money too, that the state has taxed. We already have a fair amount of that.
So it does include that.
Yes, we have.
Anybody else have a question of David? Seeing no questions, is there a motion that we approve the grant project ordinance?
I move that we do approve the grant project ordinance for the use of the ARP funds.
Commissioner Dixon has made the motion that we approve the grant project ordinance. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you for that, David. And I want y'all to know that stuff was changing faster than the weather. That brings us down to item K, citizen comments. Anybody have any question about anything you've seen or heard here tonight? Anybody, any questions about anything you've seen or heard? Seeing none. What happens now, for those of you that are here for the first time, we go into a closed session. The only people that are left in this room are the town board, the attorney, and the town manager. We have a personnel issue that we'll be dealing with. It will not take long. If y'all like to hang around, we'll come back for the closing of the meeting. So, by North Carolina General Statute 143-318 11A6, we now will be in closed session. Thank y'all for coming. Hang around. It won't take long. Oh, yeah. Is there a motion to go in closed session?
I make that motion.
Commissioners made the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.